I mean, in all likelihood, yes. As he said, there's not a lot that goes on, certainly in the Kremlin, certainly having to do with the Russian government that the president doesn't lead and direct. So yes, I believe President Putin was responsible for this downing. We don't know entirely. We're not entirely sure that Prigozhin was on that plane. He was on the manifest, and he's likely dead, but it's not 100% certain at this point. It's a great question. It's a great question. He had to know that Putin came out right away on the morning of that mutiny, saying that Prigozhin was a traitor and that Putin was going to go after him, smash him. And then by the end of the day, Putin had pardoned him, and Prigozhin was allowed to move around Russia, move to Belarus, spend some time there, spend some time apparently in Africa. So he was moving around, and apparently without threat. He had to know, though, Abby. You're exactly right. Bill Burns said the same thing, that he don't give up the food taster, because Putin has a long memory. Presumably dead. Wagner, however, still exists, and it has some functions. Wagner has some role to play for the Russian government in Africa, for example. It props up dictators and coup plotters. And so the Russians would like to kind of maintain that, and they could put somebody else in charge of Wagner. If Prigozhin's dead, they have other oligarchs that they could put in charge. Wagner also provides food, rations for the Russian military. And again, that's a useful function. Doesn't need to have Prigozhin at the top of Wagner to do that. So they may maintain some form of Wagner to do these functions. This signals to the Ukrainians that the Russian chain of command, military chain of command, is inward focused. That is, President Putin doesn't know who's loyal to him and who's not. Just today, at the same time Prigozhin likely died, the Russian military fired and demoted a Russian general who was associated with Prigozhin. And there are other Russian generals that have disappeared or have been fired or been pulled out of command. That is to say, the Russian military is not in good shape. The Ukrainians are in the midst of this long, steady